I'm going to turn this into what I hope is going to be a really cool tap handle for a buddy of mine that's super helped me out on some projects, that has a kegerator and wants one, and he doesn't know I'm doing it, so hopefully be a good surprise. This is pretty oversized, so first thing I'm going to do is break this down and then put penetrating epoxy on it to firm up everything that's really loose and also minimize how much air is going to leak out slowly over time when I do the casting pour, because I really want a clear cast. This edge is pretty straight, so use this first, get another straight edge, then clean up this wonky edge. I want to really make sure the epoxy gets in here good, so I'm going to use a big bucket and just kind of pour it over and then keep doing that to make sure it gets in all those cracks. It'll do some brushing too, but this way I just feel like I'm probably going to get it in there better. Okay, the penetrating epoxy dried and it doesn't wiggle anymore. All those soft spots are firm now, and they're sealed so air won't keep leaking out of the bark. So time to make a quick mold and cast this. My mold already and my piece is hot glued in there to make sure it doesn't float. I've learned that this marker board kind of stuff does fine with epoxy so long as you demold it. After less than a week, I had some sit in it for like a month once and it did not want to come off. But I rubbed some wax on there so it should be good, and I'm going to take this out in about 3 days. Anyway, I'm using Thickset, which has about a 1.5 inch thick pour. This is bigger than that, but because like a third of the volume's wood and it's only 1 inch on each side, I think I'm safe to pour the whole thing, and if I'm not, I guess I'll find out. Okay, so this is why I like to hang around after I do a pour, make sure everything's cool. Went out to dinner and just came back and this kicked off. It went exothermic. I was wrong. This was way too thick, and you know, heat causes gases to expand, so any air that was left just and yeah, if I'd caught this when it first happened, I could have pulled the wood out, but now I'm gonna try to demold this best I can and do it again in lifts. Well, mistakes were made. It's the next day, had to sleep on it, and it's time to try again. My idea here is that I'm pretty sure I have access to all the air bubbles, so I'm going to do a pour on each side of this and try to fill those in and then do the cast, and when I do the casting I'll do it in lifts. But just in case that doesn't work, I have another piece that isn't as cool, but I think I'm going to work it concurrently just in case this doesn't work out. Okay, the other piece, the epoxy filling, just didn't work, so jump into a second piece, try again. Got it all sanded and milled up. This side's pretty solid. This side has a bunch of stuff, so what I think I'm gonna do is make this mini mold here and hot glue it and then just pour Thickset on it, let that soak in to try to fill up all the cracks. to minimize all those trapped air bubbles that turn into an issue on the other ones. Here we go. Off camera, I did a few more pours and fill this up. So time to demold it, and then we'll talk about the stupid mistake I made that you'll notice, probably. The mistake. Bubbles. Not near as bad as the first time, but I didn't quite learn my lesson the first time apparently. What happened is I did the lift halfway pour, and then I was going to do the next pour when that gelled. Well, it gelled and was ready to do another layer, and I had a lot left over that I'd mixed from the first pour, and I was like, oh, instead of wasting this and mixing up some more, I'll just pour that in there. So I did, and it flowed. The problem is it was really thick, so it leveled out, but it was so thick the air couldn't escape, and it captured a lot of air bubbles that couldn't escape. I did what I could to try to lift them out, but I don't have any other cool pieces of walnut, so I'm just gonna have to go with it at this point. So yeah, time to cut it down to the shape I want, and I think I'm going to do an inlay on this on the CNC, so we'll get to that too once I finish deciding how I need that, which I guess I need to, but first get the shape I want on this. Now, my bottom was really flat, so I used that as the reference against the table of the table saw. My sides had actually tipped in, but now they're 90 degrees because my blade is 90 to the blade. I've got another problem though. On the ends here, when I set the walnut in there, apparently wasn't flat. You can see here I have room on this side, then flip it, and the room is here. So here's how I'm going to set that on the saw to get this straight. So this is the side I'm going to cut first. I've got my edge up here, let's see, lined up with the edge of the blade. Now I'm just going to flip it end over end. You can see it doesn't line up, but I'm just going to pad this out. Looks like 2 popsicle sticks does it, until the edge of the wood does hit the edge of the blade. Just make sure I keep track, and a little hot glue will do it. And now the edge of the wood is parallel with the fence, so when I rip it, it's going to take all the epoxy off and get me just down to the wood. And this is pretty safe because when I go through, I'm still going to have 2 points of contact with the fence, so this is perfectly solid. You know, if you find yourself in position and this isn't something you're comfortable with, don't do it. All right, it's hard to see, but right about here's the walnut. What I want to do to give this some shape and dimension is below that walnut, do a taper on all 4 corners, and then the new corners that'll create it, I'll chamfer up here are the top edges, and then probably do a super heavy chamfer around the top. I'm gonna do that at the table saw, and I've glued together 3 popsicle sticks that have a consistent thickness, and I'll use that to make my tapers. To customize this, I want to put his name on both sides of it. Because of the taper, I wasn't quite sure about holding, so I went ahead and did one side off camera just to flesh out everything. It worked. So I'm gonna do it again to the other side. Okay, so I'm happy with how this came out. So now it's time to work on the maple plug that's going to go inside of it. Got it blue taped and star bonded, CA glued down. So time to use the 1/4 inch spiral, then an 1/8 inch ball nose, and then the V-bit to make the plugs that'll go in here. Now I can rip this down closer to size, get rid of all this excess, and glue it on. After I get rid of all these fuzzies, I'm gonna sand it real quick. Okay, so I've got the letters cut out, but I realized I was too aggressive with my cut settings and went a lot deeper than I needed to. So the letters got all funky and I started missing steps. So these didn't cut right because it was too aggressive. So these aren't any good. So I started making another one, then realized I'd made some other mistakes trying to fix what I thought was a mistake. So now, at 3rd try, I've got some plugs that are gonna work. But I have a new problem. I thought that because even though this has an angle and a taper, which kind of looks cool because the S gets smaller as the shape tapers down, the beer tap, that because it's all in a plane and this is in the same plane, that it would just go together fine, but it's not quite. However, like I can get 3 letters or so at a time to go. So what I'm gonna do is cut this into like 3 pieces and then just clamp them separately, and I think that'll work. So gonna give that a try. And then it's the end of the day, so I guess I'll let the glue set overnight and see if it worked in the morning. Now I got them cut, I'm putting them back in the order they were before I cut them so I don't lose track of the sequence they go in. All right, I'm about halfway there with the sanding. I've done 80, 120, 180, 220, 320, and 400. And it's a lot clearer than it was. About to do 6, 8, and 1,000, and then get some finish on this thing. But I'll bring it in close so you can see the difference going through the grits makes. Here is after sanding to 1,000 grit. You can see the difference is quite a bit clearer. Put some finish on that. It's going to be like glass. One of the reasons I work with TotalBoat is because I love their Halcyon finish. It goes great over all their epoxies, and they just released a satin version of it in clear, which is awesome. Now I'm going to build up with gloss though, because the gloss version of any finish is the purest form of it. In order to come down from a gloss, you add flatteners, which kind of muddy it. So to get the best finish, always build up all the layers with gloss and then top coat with whatever sheen you want to minimize the amount of flatteners built up throughout all the layers of finish. So time to do this thing. All right, so here at my buddy Nick's shop. He's letting me use the shop to make these tables. Well, I made him the tap handle. I wasn't sure what size threaded insert it needed though. So when we got here, we checked. It's a 3/8/16. Fortunately, he had some. So we're gonna set up to drill the hole, put the threaded insert in it, then we can put it on the kegerator.